One of the things that I think is really interesting about being vegan is the way that until we become vegan, we don't really understand how much propaganda the mainstream culture pours out every single second of every single hour of every single day, telling us to consume and use animals. Even down to what seems like small things. Like I like to read detective novels to unwind, American detective novels. And I've only been vegan for four years now. And one of the things I started to notice is what they're eating, what these detectives are eating. And apart from horrible fizzy drinks, which they seem to imbibe on a regular basis, they're all eating like shed loads of meat, you know, veal stuffed something or other, of course hamburgers, barbecued that, people are fishing. It's absolutely repulsive, you know, and I wouldn't have given this a second thought when I was non-vegan. Even when I was vegetarian, I would have just sort of cruised by it and read it, and it would have not meant anything to me. And I think these are the sort of, this shows how deeply we are embedded in and imbued with the non-vegan culture. I mean, we know that as vegans, but as pre-vegans, do we understand that? Because I certainly didn't understand that before I became vegan. How just the mountains and mountains of propaganda. Of course, you look at the fast food restaurants and people stuffing their faces in that, but then it's more than that. I mean, living here in Asia, you sort of see, which has got a completely non-dairy product culture, is now becoming invaded by, you know, your pizzas with your cheese, your cream teas, your creamy cakes. None of these are vegan. People don't really understand what being vegan is, and there's a huge feeling that, you know, it's unhealthy and weak. But the main thing I want to talk about today is this whole sort of like the meat animal agriculture industry that pushes and pushes and pushes and pushes and promotes eating animal products as the norm. And it's not normal, and it's not necessary, it's not nice, and we don't need to. We're far healthier not doing it. It's the right thing to do is not to eat and use animals in any way whatsoever. And just think about it. Living beings, loving, living, aware beings. I was doing some advocacy the other day at a farmer's market here, and funnily enough got talking to somebody who was an Australian meat inspector. Yikes. And I said, well, what do you think about, you know, animals having feelings? Do they have feelings? And he sort of went, well, they have feelings, but not in the same way that we do. Right. Well, I kind of knew that I wasn't going to make much headway on that one if he's, you know, he's like in his sort of maybe 60s and he's a meat inspector, and it's, you know, there's no point in continuing that conversation. They have feelings, but not the same as we do. Okay, well, how can you say that? Watch a few animal videos. I don't have a vested interest, mate. And really, we can all say the same thing to all the other sort of the pre-vegans and the non-vegans out there. Watch a few of those like animal videos where it's not cats and dogs, but it's sort of like pigs and cows scampering around the fields and being adorable. And maybe, just maybe, you'll start to think in a different way about the choices that you make and the morality of using loving, living, feeling, sentient beings just for a few minutes palate pleasure. Vegan invasion from a tiny spot in Asia to a tiny spot in your brain. Thank you. Please like and share.